Hi everyone, I'm Stacey Mann, the Early Years and Childcare Subject Specialist at NCFE Cash, and I'm joined today by Natalie Showell, who is our head teacher at Low Hill Nursery School in Wolverhampton. This vodcast today is all about working with families effectively as part of our CPD carousel. CPD carousel sits in our careers toolkit, the Education and Childcare Careers Toolkit, and is available with lots of different articles, podcasts and webinars for you to be able to access for your own continuous professional development. So first of all, Natalie, thank you for joining us today. And can you tell us a little bit about your journey so far?
Thank you, Stacey. So I'm a qualified primary school teacher. I did obviously GCSEs at school. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, which I think lots of students still experience this. I went on to do A levels. Still was a little bit unsure about, where my life was going to take me. I did some work experience while doing my A levels in a nursery, and I really loved it. Seeing those first stages of development. Then from then on, I went on to university and I did a BA honours in primary education. So I was qualified to teach from nursery up to year 6. But again, I found myself being drawn back to the early years. And then I did specialisms in the early years and key stage 1. So qualified in 2006. And then I had a range of different jobs working nursery reception. And then I gradually found myself in the position of covering a maternity lead for phase leader for nursery and reception. And I think for then it became a passion for me about, the strategic thing about staff development, supporting teams. So yeah, I had a few roles, and then I became a deputy head, and again moved up, and then I became head teacher at Low Hill Nursery School, which brings us to where we are today.
Amazing. And it's so interesting to see that, like you said, so many people don't know what their route is going to be, and sometimes you've just got to trust that it's going to go in the right direction. And
Definitely.
early years does keep pulling you back, doesn't it? It's a very, very special place to be. So can you tell us a little bit about your setting?
Yeah, so Lowham Nursery School is a nursery school in Wolverhampton in the area of Low Hill. And we are quite a large nursery school, so we have children who are 2, 3, 4, and we also have a resource base for children with complex and additional special needs. So that's been going for a few years now. But we're also an inclusive school, so we have many children across our setting with lots of different needs, and we just welcome and support everybody here. We also have the 30 hours funding, so some of our children stay all day. But yeah, I think we're a popular school. We've got really high numbers in school, and we just really want to welcome everybody.
Absolutely. I mean, I have had the privilege of coming to your setting, and that I think that word welcoming is exactly the feeling that is provoked as soon as you walk in through the door. So what do you offer to the families of your setting that you feel makes them feel welcomed and valued and keep coming back? Because I know you've got lots of families that have
Yeah.
continued to bring all of their children there when they've had new children, had more children.
Had more children, yeah.
Yeah, more
So
children.
for us at Low Hill Nursery School, we believe in a personalised approach. So it's not a one size fits all. And I think, for me, that's something that's really important. And it's about taking time, to know families, what's their strengths and areas that they may need more support in. And also, I think, celebrating people's differences, similarities. And for us, our tagline, everybody is welcome here. And it's just about us continually thinking about how we can support and make people feel that they are welcome within our school.
Absolutely. Have you, in your time as there as deputy and now as head teacher, have you seen that change over time, sort of the participation maybe of the families in the setting?
I think it's something that we're always looking to improve, and I think, you know, lifelong learning is another theme that runs through our school, and you know, that's for me as head, but also as our practitioners. And I think we're always reflecting, so reflective practice is really important to us. And I think we're always thinking of ways, how can we encourage people? And I think sometimes when we look, you know, maybe people haven't had a positive experience, it may be in the past, maybe not here, but maybe in their own education. So I think for us it's about building that trust. And I think when people feel safe, they're more settled, like you say, more likely to come back to us. But I think we're always looking at ways that we can improve.
Yeah, and you know, that starts with sort of your facial expressions as soon as they walk through the door. Remember it. I think memories are really key thing here as well, is that if you remember somebody's name or you remember a key piece of information, it automatically makes that person feel valued, doesn't it? And the fact that you are saying hello to them every morning, and I know that you stand at the door as the head teacher and
as much as I
speak to
can,
everybody as they come in.
Be visible. And I think the name thing, it's important, you know. We tried to learn, not only obviously I learn all the children's names, but the parents' names as well. And I think that makes them feel important, that it's not just, you're not William's mom, or you know, you're your own person as well. And for us that's really important.
It's massive, isn't it? That's huge, because you do, as you know, as a parent myself, you do sort of feel a lot of the time like you are somebody's wife or somebody's mom, or you know, all of these things, but sometimes you want to be you. And I know, but if you want to tell everybody else what you do for some of the parents that goes above and beyond what most settings do, if you want to tell us a little bit about that, about your sort of training and wellbeing arms.
So we have again high aspirations, and for me, I believe everybody's got something to offer regardless of your starting point. You know, everybody, you know, you can be whoever you want to be. So before the pandemic, we had offered level 1 and level 2 childcare and education courses, and that for us was transformational. We then went on to give placements within the school for those parents, but it was during the time that their child would be within the setting, so they weren't having to worry about childcare. And then it kind of came full circle, because some of the parents then went on to have employment with us, and for some of those parents, you know, it was their first, you know, opportunity at the world of work, and I think it was quite transformational. Obviously we couldn't employ everybody, but for some people, they went on to higher education, they felt self-worth. So for us, you know, it was really, really transformational, something that we're really proud of, and hoping to well, we are going to be starting a level 2 program again. So
amazing. It's about that you know, you keep referring to feeling worthy and just feeling like you can do these things, and having someone believe in you is, you know, it's amazing, isn't it? I think you're doing an amazing job. So you have lots and lots of families who have, as you said, complex needs, additional needs. You've got lots of, as we all have, lots of families that have got challenges. How do you support the staff team with all of those things? Because that's not something that you just have, is it? It's something that develops over time.
And I think it can be difficult, and I think for me it's about not making assumptions, that staff feel confident, you know, to have discussions. So obviously we have regular safeguarding training and annual update, but through our staff meeting times we might reflect and talk and say, you know, look, if you don't feel confident, come to us for advice. We can work through this as a team. There's teams around you, you know, you've got your got our unqualified teachers within the room, our UQTs. You know, we've got that levels of support, and I think it's about colleagues supporting one another. and identifying with each other. You know, I feel more confident to do this, or how did you do this? And it's not been afraid of admitting that you're not sure, or you know, you might need some more support.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fantastic. Thank you so much for all of that. Have you had any? I know that within the local authority, they're thinking about how to ensure that children are going back into settings feeling confident and happy and capable after the pandemic. But you already had a lot of these things in place, didn't you? Do you want to tell us a little bit about that and how that helped during the pandemic?
I think our approach to wellbeing and welcoming people into our school kind of helped us through the pandemic, really, because obviously the pandemic still is to some extent a time of extreme worry for people and uncertainty. It's something that nobody has ever experienced, and I think the impact was so far reaching. You know, there's not one person that you would speak to that hasn't been affected in some way. However, it'll always stay with me, something that a parent said: we felt safe before the pandemic and we feel safe now. So for me, for a parent to say that they feel safe within our school and our school community, it says everything for me. And I think it just goes back to that, having time, you know, taking time to speak to people. How are you? How was your summer holidays? How are you feeling today?
Yeah. Yeah.
And genuinely meaning it and waiting and listening to the answer, I think, as well.
Absolutely, because so many people do that as just naturally just go, "Are you all right?" And then they're so eager to just get away, aren't they? That it's almost like it's not sincere. And then you have other people that you go, "How are you?" And you get everything, don't you?
Yeah.
And sometimes you've got to be prepared for that, to go, actually, let's take this into a different area and have that proper conversation. But how wonderful that you're there for them, because for a lot of those families, you're their support network. That is their support network. They've got no one else within that, have they?
No, and it can be difficult for people.
Yeah, extremely difficult. So what would your 5 top tips be about working with families effectively? What would you say to our students and practitioners and teachers that are listening?
I think be open, honest and transparent. So sometimes we do have to have difficult conversations with families, but for us, we would always advocate for being honest, so that maybe further down the line, if something does come up and we have to say, well, actually, you know, we have had to refer this on, it's not a shock and a surprise. And, you know, we see our parents, you know, as partners with us. I think it goes back to something else that I was saying: actually listen. You know, if somebody's telling you something, listen to what they're telling you. Be with them and not at them, if that makes sense. So you're on a journey together, and I think for me, in my experience, you get a far more positive outcomes if people feel that, you know, you're on the journey with them and not telling people what they should be doing, because nobody wants to hear that, do they, really?
No, right.
Nobody, whoever you are. I think listening to parents, what does the parents want? What do the families want? So when we're thinking about planning workshops or sessions, or we don't take it from our point of view. What are parents asking us for support with? So a lot of parents were struggling with potty training. So during the pandemic, one of our practitioners, we wrote a little potty training workshop and we delivered it through Teams. And luckily we had some funding and we were able to give them they had a potty, a story, and some little stickers just to say well done, and then a little sequencing for the parents. So it was like, here you go, you've asked us for support. So, and then the outcomes were more positive because parents didn't feel alone. They'd been within a group situation. So definitely listening to what parents want, and don't make assumptions about people. Don't judge. You know, you're not living that person's life. So wait for them to tell you their story before you kind of decide it what you think it already is.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think
Wow.
that would be my advice.
That's fantastic advice. Thank you so much. And I'm sure that this conversation is going to continue, and we're probably going to have more of these because you've got such a wonderful setting, and everything that you are doing is working really, really well. Thank you for joining us today. There will be more podcasts, vodcasts, webinars and articles coming, and this is part of the CPD Carousel for Careers Toolkit. Thank you.
Thank you.